we never planned this stuff. It just all kind of flows out.
Yeah, that worked out really well.
What we say to each other cannot be divisive.
Gosh, I just think that when we get so focused on walking the line and just miss so much of God's creativity.
We only created the Odd Show to have this conversation.
Right.
We're gonna say some bad things about stuff. If you're
Not bad things like,
if you're a huge Toby Mac fan,
turn it off now.
For people who are struggling with why would a God of the universe care about me individually, you are his favorite. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is The Odd Show. Let's get right into it. Here's your hosts, Bruce Bugano and Thomas Hogan.
Hey, welcome to The Odd Show. We are back.
The G is silent.
Yeah, the G is silent. I'm Bruce. Thomas.
Hey, everybody.
I'll pause that time long enough for you to talk.
to get a little intro in.
Yeah. So we didn't do a show last week, and I just thought, man, we're like, Meg's episode was so popular. We'll just let it ride for another week. Is what I wanted to be the reason.
That's a good. I like that.
But the fact is,
happy little mistakes, man. Bob Ross.
No, yeah, it was so good. And it got such great feedback. Like Meg, like just her story. There were tons of people that were just like, "Man, I needed to hear this." And then life happens. I mean, just stuff. So I think by Wednesday, I texted Thomas and was just like, "Oh man, I totally like today's Wednesday." So we just didn't record an episode, but we're back. And this week we're going to talk about women in leadership. And I think we've talked about this before.
I think we've brushed up on it before. I know what you think I'm going to say. You think I'm going to say I'm against it. I'm not against women in leadership. I'm against women.
No, yeah, which is fair.
Oh, man.
What's your wife think about that?
The misogyny is strong in this one. No, my wife. So I actually, funny enough.
What does your wife think about you being
against women? Well, she's the one that's cool, and the rest of them don't work. No, I actually last night, because I don't know if you know this, because you're in like traditional church settings too. It's Pastor Appreciation Month, which I didn't know until I went to church yesterday, and they told me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I saw that when I think the pastor posted it.
Yeah, which is really sad. It's like whenever you're reminding people it's your birthday.
I think it was somebody
people
in the
you got to remind.
Like,
hey, what are you doing today after work? Oh, it's my birthday. You know, I'm not doing that. I don't have a big brand.
No, actually, it was my pastor. The lead pastor of the church posted it to appreciate one of the other pastors. Like he was okay. Anyway, but that seems passive aggressive.
On this day in history, Amelia Earhart was born.
So was I.
So was I. Anyway. So it's Pastor Appreciation Month, and so my wife, when we were at two different church places.
She was at a church with the female lead pastor. You were like, I'm not going.
No. But last night, whenever we were going to bed and praying, and I was just like, hey, it's Pastor Appreciation Month, and so to go along with our topic, I put my hand on my head and I said, I thank God that you're pastoring me still. And guide my heart into the fullness of Christ, and all, blah blah blah. Sweet. Yeah, but that's what I pray, because look at my wife as a pastor to me. She is somebody who protects my heart,
cares for it, leads it,
cares for it, guides it, cultivates it, and helps challenge me and force me to grow. So
that's good. Let's pause for a moment.
In a very pastoral sense.
Let's pause for that.
I trust my wife to be trusted.
Right. Right. This is where I'm going to insert like hearts and like.
Yeah, I'll put little flowers and like just,
Snapchat filters.
Face me, yeah, just Snapchat filter me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's good, man. Like, so needless to say,
any points from the ladies after I said something horrible. Yeah, it was Pastor Appreciation Month, and me and my wife make fun of a lot of things that churches do.
Pastors,
just for fun.
A lot of pastors.
I make fun of mostly pastors.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, no. Hey, you have 11 other months to make fun of pastors. Please don't do it during pastor appreciation.
Don't do it during the month that you're. And so why? And I brought it up as a joke, but then I made it part of the prayer. Like thank you God for giving me somebody who cares so much for my heart.
Yeah, that's good. So
a woman leads me. I don't know if other people do, but a woman leads me. I don't know how it works for everyone else.
Now I feel less than you.
Let your wife lead you a little bit. I mean, not in everything.
No,
that's crazy.
I do. My wife tells me a lot of stuff.
My wife,
I'm just like, no, you're right.
Lead is one way to say it.
Yeah. Right. No. Yeah. So we're going to talk about though when it comes to and we've talked about it. Like we are.
Yeah. We brought it up. I think it's in passing. We usually bring it up.
Yeah. No. Feminist-ish. So
I'm telling you, we have a really good chance to just continue a feminist thing, right? Even though it's not feminism, we can interject Jesus feminist stuff.
So I was perusing and a few days ago and saw that Bill Hybels, if you're not familiar with Bill Hybels, he's the lead pastor of Willow Creek Church out in Chicago land area. Big mega church. I would say probably one of the main voices of the evangelical church,
multi-campus,
Christian evangelism, evangelical Christian. He's kind of the face, and he's one of the leaders in that. He's got a leadership summits and huge church. We're talking 10,000 members over multiple campuses.
Church plant training, all that stuff.
Yeah. And he just announced his successors.
Nice.
And I say successors because it was funny because the Christianity Today article was like, no one can fill the shoes of Bill Hybels, so there has to be two people.
Wow.
And I was just like, whoa. But he announced, and he wasn't, obviously, he didn't make it sound like that, but
they said the same thing about Elijah. And Elisha had to prove him wrong.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Oh, way to bring it back to the Bible.
Unbiblical.
But he announced two co-pastor replacements for him in 2018 when he steps down and retires in October next year. One of them is already an associate teaching pastor at Willow Creek. The other is the current executive pastor, who is a woman, and I don't remember her name off the top of my head. And so I read the I read the headline, and I was just like, "What? No way!" Bill Hybels just appointed a woman as his lead co-pastor, and has the title of lead pastor. I
want them to. In my mind, I kind of want them to get rings and be like Wonder Twins,
like Shazam.
Yeah, Wonder Twins powers activate form of a full pastor.
That's awesome.
Form of a full pastor,
an evangelist, form of a prophet.
As God splits the gifts away like that. That's pretty cool. No, that's awesome. I mean, that's. Yeah, I'm really curious. What was the article? What do you think the article was trying to say? Were they trying to say, "Oh, this is controversial," or were they trying to say, "Oh, this is maybe a way for multi-sites to be ran in the future that they're not run by a single"?
Well, and it's not even about that. It's about megachurch. So their thing. Her name is, and I'll put a link to the article, but her name's Heather Larson. She's the current executive pastor. And then Steve Carter.
Making decisions.
She's already making decisions. She's already leading. So we'll get into that in a second. But the other one is Steve Carter, and he's a teaching pastor. And one of the points that the article was trying to make was Bill Hybels had said that they'd kind of been tossing this around and talking about it. And a consultant told him, hey, this is too big. This is too much for one person to lead. And the article was obviously it was too much for one person that wasn't Bill Hybels to lead, because Bill Hybels obviously could and did. But so it's probably better to split some stuff up here. And the one point that they did make is that this is the first mega church that is co-led by an unmarried couple. By co-led by a unmarried couple.
Right.
And so they did make that point, and they kind of like they didn't say anything outright. They didn't even put any kind of underlying like innuendo or anything in there. Just that this is not
because
typical.
I would say most likely I think a lot of people are going to read that and say that's a church split.
That's what?
That's an opportunity. That's a real opportunity for a church split.
Right. So
that's a real, like you're kind of setting up the groundwork for a church
so
split.
on the surface, like so when I sent that to you and I told you, hey, he just announced co-ed pastors, or co-pastors, and they're co-ed. One's a woman, one's a dude. What'd you think? Like, what was your thought?
I didn't know. So I don't know that much about his church. I mean, I know he's a famous guy, but I don't know that much about his church. I initially thought that is good for Christianity. Going to react to it. I mean, the individual churches are just. I mean, there's a personality there, and especially I believe that most mega churches are based around mega personality. It happens to be the way it unfolds. Mark Driscoll had, I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name yet, but Mark Driscoll had
he's restarting a church,
13 to 15 years of building a church, an organization, and a platform around his personality.
Right.
Until it fell in on him. And I think that mega church is just Hillsong and Elevation and Willow Creek. I think they're based around a major personality, and then out of that comes in not just a passionate personality, but a well thought,
right?
Like a really well programmed and organized and direct person. Splitting that between multiple people. Now, I think that's good. Like on a personal level, I'm like, split that up. Don't rely on the one person to be the face. To allow others to kind of share in the fame of it, so that fame doesn't destroy you and the burden doesn't destroy you at the same time. So I thought it was great how the church deals with that, because it's a personality. I mean, mega churches are personality driven for the most part. I can't think of one that doesn't have a dominant personality behind why they're that famous and how they built that.
Right. So just kind of on that, Matt Chandler, they have 7 campuses, and they're on a
crazy town
couple-year track here, and they are going to be autonomous churches. So they're breaking up their entire campus setup. And they're not going to be.
And I think that's.
I love it. I think it's great.
I don't know if you're still. Are you still listening to the Village? Do you go to the? Yeah. Do you listen to the sermons?
Yep. I haven't in a few weeks. I haven't in a few weeks.
Yeah,
it's probably been about a month.
About a month ago. So the interview came out in I don't remember the website, but it came out on one of the major websites we're talking about this plan that he has. But he was addressing it in one of the sermons, and it was just really honest and heartfelt. It didn't take up a lot of time, but he said this is what we feel God's trying to do, and blah blah.
But he's been going that way for years now with their
Well, whenever the last church split off,
and they've been talking about that for a couple of years prior to that. So it's fantastic.
And I'm all for the decentralization, like we were talking about before, and I don't know if it's pre-show or show now. They all float together,
right?
But I'm all for decentralization. I think that you level and you make Jesus the head of every level of church organization, and that's the easiest way to get there.
So when I saw the article, the headline, I was just like, yes, like if any church is going to be the church that does this, Willow Creek, awesome. The only other equivalent to that would have been Saddleback. In my head, I'm thinking the other church that this would have mattered at is Saddleback, and for evangelical Christendom, like that would have mattered. And then I read the article,
Oh no.
So
yeah.
so-
So I didn't read I'm glad I don't read the research you sent to me.
yeah. So tell me what you think an executive pastor does.
They organize, plan, execute vision. They are the ones who financially review programs,
In charge of the budget,
ministries. Yeah, stuff like that.
catalysts.
But I think
within teams.
they're a big part of team planning, team organization. Right. Well, organization. They're a big part of organization.
Probably lead some of the staff, if not all the staff.
In some format, yeah.
Right. So as I read the article, the current associate teaching pastor, Steve Carter, is going to remain the teaching pastor, and Heather Larson, who is currently the executive pastor, is going to be responsible for the 400-person staff and the $77 million budget. Is going to be her job.
Got it.
So she. So like I read the article, I'm like, her job's not changing. She's going to be the executive.
Well, I mean, maybe she'll preach. Maybe she'll do like because we have pastors that.
So no, yeah. So like
you and I both know executive pastors who have preached.
So
and family pastors who have.
She's a lead pastor, and the article didn't say she wouldn't, but it surely said that it didn't say she wouldn't, but it did not say that she would. Like it said that he will do them with what's it say exactly? It says something like it said Larson will be lead pastor overseeing Willow Creek's 400-person staff and $77 million budget, and Carter will be the lead teaching pastor, continuing to preach most weeks.
Okay, most weeks. There you go.
Yeah, the other weeks
where they don't have guests, or maybe the other pastors.
There'll be the other campus pastors. So I read it and I was just like,
but not everybody's called to preach, man. Not everybody, so God gives the gift of administration.
But I mean, like, as I read it, I was just like, come on.
I know
man. What are you doing?
I'm disappointed too.
You got me. I feel like you clickbaited me on that title.
No, maybe it's a bait and switch, man. Maybe they're like, she's not really the pastor, and she's straight up running the show. I don't know. You don't know.
Might be. Like, even as the executive pastor, like, when you're in charge of $77 million, you're probably running stuff pretty decent. If you can fire one of those 400-person staff members, you're probably running stuff. And really, the way I looked at it was, and I don't know, like, to be honest, I don't know him. I don't know the church. But when I look at it, when I read it, and he's like, we had a consultant that told us, hey, this should be split up. I'm like, that's basic business. When you have a staff that large, an organization that large, there should be a CEO and a CFO and a COO, and like there's right. So
on an honest level, on honesty level, let's be real with the audience, right? Do you ever like look at the way churches organize things and be like, do you pray? At what point? I was just talking to a pastor friend of mine.
You cut out.
At what point do you pray? At what point do you pray and just ask God what to do next? Like,
right.
And not that you don't, you have a staff meeting, you probably open up with prayer. But I was just talking to a pastor friend this weekend, and actually at the leadership class, and he was like telling me that whenever he first came on staff at this church that he ended up working at, they had a vote, and he didn't understand that. He was like, his whole Christian experience had not prepared him for a church vote. He was like, but doesn't it not matter what any of us think? Like,
right.
And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what your preference is, does it? That much? I mean, isn't the whole? But there is a spirit guided. Once you move from organism to organization, and where you've got to, there's somewhere in there where you've got to, start making decisions. I'm not going to say you're making decisions for God, but you're going to be making decisions in lieu of God telling you exactly what to do.
Right. So I read the article and I was just like, man, come on. Like, she's still doing what she was doing. She probably does have
their consultant's name HS God. Was it H Spirit by any chance? Was it Spirit of Christ by any chance?
No.
I don't know who these consultants are that are telling churches how to run things.
It was
I mean,
funny.
I realize you need them with a $70 million budget.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, I'm just like,
maybe you need a consultant.
like she probably does. I don't know. I mean, she probably does get to share in the vision casting.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope that she's ministering in her own way, not just administering, but also ministering.
This is what I said to Sarah. I was like, my issue with it is, and again, the article did not say she wouldn't be preaching. It also didn't say that she would be preaching. And if he's going to be preaching most weeks, I've been in churches and campuses, and I know that means that he's probably going to take a sabbatical at some point, and there will be people that will come in and preach, or the campus pastors. There's 7 campuses. There's other teaching pastors. There's other associate teaching pastors. So all those people will take turns in the pulpit. And my thing is, so she can lead as a lead pastor, 400-person staff, which is a decent sized church.
Which is a church. I mean, that is a church.
Right? That's a like
her staff is a church. So fair enough.
400 people. So she's got a 400-person staff that she's leading, many of which are probably men. So she can do that. But because she's not teaching on a Sunday morning or preaching on a Sunday morning, like, what's the difference to me? Like, in my mind,
I think optics. Let's be honest, the optics is the difference. I think I don't know when we're going to get there. I think we're going to get there, but I don't know when it's going to be where we say, "Oh, okay, this is it is healthy for this God to rest on God's people, right?" And so, regardless of whether that's a woman or a dude, we need to be finding out God's purpose and vision for us right here, right now, where we're at. And most likely, if God's not directly leading us, then we need to find somebody to lead us.
Right.
Or if we're not hearing directly from God, then maybe we need. And that I could care less if that. I personally could care less if that's a dude or a chick. I don't think that Christianity is there yet. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I don't think that mainstream Christianity is there yet.
Right.
I think we're closer now than we've ever been before.
No, yeah, totally. I mean, I think you're right. But it just gets me. Well, I'm just like, oh man, so close. We're so close.
Yeah, I know. You had an opportunity, Christianity.
You
were about to impress me.
Yeah.
And you did this other thing.
You almost did.
It happens.
Hey, it made me click on the article. But I mean, I was. And to be fair, like, to even suggest that a woman gets to share in vision making or vision casting or vision development, and I would guess that she already is as an executive pastor. She already is. I was just like, man, just that, like, boop, right over the, like, you just a little. Almost, just like almost. What's that meme? Like, little bit of woman in church. So what do you think about the not being married? Big deal or no?
Oh yeah. So to me, that is surprising because that is the typical route. I mean, when I was in DC, we would go to these churches. We went to like 2 churches actually. So we visited as many churches as we could while we were there. And I was only there for like 3 more months. But I went to were run by couples.
Right.
The couples were the past. One of the churches preached as a couple.
And so and lady and first lady.
But one of them preached as a couple. Like they were
weird.
both on the stage sitting. And it wasn't like a one-time thing. This is how they did it. And it was really unique. Me and my wife thought it was really cool. We wouldn't do that because our intense fellowship would probably be overwhelming for a congregation. We would be like, "That's silly. You're crazy. Stop smoking crack. You're a Christian." And
she's like, "You better be quiet.
Why are you talking to me like that, woman?" But it was unique and it was cool. Like, but yeah, that's the way you think it's going to be
I mean, really.
But I think people learned their lesson after the Paula. After I don't know if I'm supposed to say her name either. Gee, I keep saying people's names. You know, Paula White and her husband divorced, and had to split that ministry. Paula White. We were talking about the too far side of prophetic.
Yeah.
Well, when she divorced her husband,
right. Who runs Project 31 Ministries? Or
Project 31?
not Project 31.
I don't know.
Proverbs 31.
Proverbs 31?
Yeah. Turkhurst, Lisa
Right.
Turkhurst. They just.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's sad.
Split
up the ministry because it's co-owned. That's difficult.
So
like half the congregation's like, this is biblical, and I'm like, none of it was biblical, guys. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Why are you jumping on this? I don't know why you're jumping on the end of the train. Chapter was bad. I don't know why you're in the caboose right now.
Yeah.
Oh man, I know we don't have any Paula White fans watching us. If I could make fun of that mess of a ministry every day, I probably would.
Then you would, and that we could probably just revolve a podcast.
Not every day, but definitely enough.
Once a week for a podcast. So, like, to me, that's not as big a deal because they're all like her as the executive pastor right now. She's already doing that with Bill Hybels.
Right.
So if I've heard a number of lead pastors call their executive pastors their armor bearers, or their catalyst for vision. Like, they're already doing that, and they're already working closely together. So if she's already doing that, to me, for Christianity Today or whoever posted that,
wait a second. Are they both? So they're not married together, but they are married.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they're not husband and wife team, but they are. It's not like one of them is. Yeah,
right. They're not single. So
okay.
So to me, it wasn't as big a deal. Like, I was like,
yeah. I maybe I should read the article. It sounds a little disappointing. I mean, good. Good because it's a step closer.
Right.
So I'm cool with that. But I feel like if you're going to make a radical, I mean, maybe don't be radical. Actually, I'm probably a bad person to. So I'm like, be radical, and then craziness happens.
So it says after an outside consultant recommended splitting the senior pastor duties, the two leaders were selected by Hybels and approved by the church elders. So it was an outside consultant.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, after I read the article, I was like, oh, it was a business decision. Not that God wasn't in it. He probably was. But as an organization,
God makes business decisions.
It's a business decision.
It's a business decisions. It's like, and then now you own this part of that place.
You could fire the people that you were already able to fire. What? Did you just change my title?
But it's official in Christianity magazines, so it's a little bit more.
So I don't know who got tricked
definitive,
more,
I guess,
or Heather Larson.
Yeah, I don't know. She's like, wait, you don't want me to do anything different?
Wait a second.
Thanks for coming. Why'd you even come? You know how your boss comes in and he's like, here, I need you to go ahead and go ahead and redesign or rebuild or rework. Sir, I'm already doing that. Okay, keep working on that. Yeah. Okay. Why'd you come in here?
No reason.
Why?
Yeah. So that's it.
I mean, cool.
Like I thought, oh man, huge step for Christianity. It was a little step for Christianity.
I mean, it's more of a
little step for Christianity in a sideways type motion.
Yeah, more of a shuffle. More of a to the left than it is to the front to the front.
I was gonna say, like when you're doing the Cupid shuffle and there's that part where you go sideways, but it's not really forward. But some people get out of line, and you're like, "Oh, dude, you went a little bit forward, man."
Dance goes, dude. That's
kind of like that.
I mean, whatever. I'm sure it's good. I'm sure, and as God is sovereign, as I believe that, even
No,
though
yeah,
I'm not
I agree.
a reformed guy necessarily, God is sovereign, and He will oversee the transition of all church movement, whether He allows certain things to continue
Right.
or build something else.
I mean, I was thinking about this the other day. Sarah and I were talking before I even read this article. To me, it's like, man, why is it such a big? It's not a salvation issue. For some people, I guess maybe it is, but it's not that. If we get to my thing is, if we get to heaven and God's like, hey, I really meant women shouldn't have led, but it worked out all right.
You guys are dumb.
I like you guys are dumb. Not a big deal. But okay, man, we
Right.
really missed that one when we let her lead the church. But none of us, we all made it here. On the other hand,
Yeah.
I feel like if we get to heaven and God's like, hey, you remember how you were telling people that I hated them and I was going to send them to hell if they didn't? And my whole thing was, hey, love people and that will draw them to me. You really jacked that because now all those people rejected me. That's your fault.
I really feel like there's a delineation. For me, it's very easy. I mean, I think N.T. Wright, I probably lean more towards the N.T. Wright view of this, although he's become more orthodox now. So maybe he's going backwards now that he's moved so far
I don't
forward.
think he is.
Maybe that's how it works. Maybe you could move so far forward, you go backwards again. That's possible.
It's cyclical.
But,
It's just like
but
Earth is not flat. It's round. You actually end up.
yeah, what's the deal with you actually end up where you started? But I kind of lean towards the N.T. Wright. What's the deal with Paul and women?
Oh yeah.
Where Paul says, "I do not permit." And I'm like, okay, Paul does not permit.
Right.
Histories that Paul establishes, Paul does not permit.
I'll put that.
Whereas,
I'll put that link. I'll try and find that link. But there's also a guy who, Kurt Willem, is. I think he did his dissertation.
I'm pretty sure John Zins wrote some stuff about it too.
On Paul too. And
This whole, I feel like Paul does not permit that, and I'm like, okay, I can see why Paul would not permit that.
right. Paul was a
like Jesus is saying, and I got into an argument with an atheist this week, or not an argument, really a discussion with an atheist this week about how Paul and Jesus are preaching a different gospel. Like completely not going to address it in this show at all.
He said that.
And I'm trying to make the point that Paul is primarily preaching to a different audience, not a different gospel.
Right.
And what Jesus says is definitively Christian, and what Paul says is definitively about the church.
Right.
Jesus says a little bit about church and its establishment, and Paul builds on that established work. Right. And so I tried to draw out that larger point that Paul's not preaching something different. He's preaching to different people. Like he has a different purpose.
Right.
Alongside the same gospel. And I think to structure the church as he saw it, invested and saw it, and we're not talking about decisions he made at the beginning, followed through 20 years later. We're talking about something that he did, these missionary journeys, he planted these churches, he grew with these people, and then he saw the issues that they had and said, hey, this. But
at the same time, he would call Lydia a leader. You know what I'm saying? Like there were these women that he referred to as leaders in their church. So
yeah. So I mean, but he's just saying I think that's the decision he came to or comes to through trial and error, through seeing. I mean, and I think we all do that. We build ministries or we invest in ministries, and we see, oh man, that's not going to work for us. I think that in this setting with what we're trying to do, that's gonna impact the mission that we're working on. And then you adjust accordingly. And I think that Paul doesn't just it's not like this divinely, okay, God doesn't like women in charge, because that's not what he says. He's like, listen, I don't permit this. So, and I think that's clear when you read the text for just as a text, when you don't read it as, okay, everything, Paul says he's telling Timothy, if your stomach hurts, drink a little wine. And then I have friends who are like, well, I just got to drink wine all the time. Like your stomach doesn't hurt all the time. Also, you're not Timothy.
Right.
Every night your stomach doesn't hurt to the point of a bottle. I think that the bottle of wine, a little wine, is not that interpretive
Right.
as you've made it.
Right.
So I think that whole thing is like, it's a holdover from a version of church that may have worked and been beneficial and definitely healthily impacted the mission that God was doing around Jerusalem, and maybe in Judea and maybe in Rome. I don't know.
And that's not to say that there's not aspects of it that are, because the Bible says that all Scripture is God breathed and good for teaching and reproof and edification. So that doesn't mean that there aren't, aspects of it and stuff within that is meant for us to glean wisdom out of and to, but it's not model stuff necessarily.
Right. I don't think that Paul expects the same thing from Ephesus he does Galatia. Although I think he expects the same foundation.
Right.
And
that's clear in the
format, and
that's clear in the letters that he wrote to them with the different issues that he was addressing. I mean,
right.
He didn't have to tell
people,
apparently.
He didn't have to tell people in Ephesus, a bunch of generous alcoholics.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all that was, but I mean, like, he didn't have to tell people in Ephesus not to allow people to sleep with their stepmoms, like he did in Corinth.
And that's not something. I mean, that probably is universally applicable.
Right. No, but I mean, like,
not everybody has that same struggle.
Point being, obviously not an issue in Ephesus.
Right. Or he would have been like, listen, I tell this to all the churches.
Right.
If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Don't sleep with your stepmother.
Yeah.
I've said it once, but yeah, I didn't. I think that's a valid, accurate.
Right. I think it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway.
I'm going to say, guys, normally I don't do this.
Anyway, so
I didn't write this in my sermon notes. Just wanted to let you guys know.
I'm having a Holy Spirit moment here, and I think this is for someone in the room. I'm just feeling like this is for someone in the room. You probably shouldn't be sleeping with your stepmom.
Maybe multiple people, but definitely Michael McPherson over here.
Michael,
you call him out.
Michael, I see you sitting next to her.
Oh man, worst day in church ever.
Now get the offering plates.
I remember the day I left the church.
Oh, that is not funny.
Telling me who I couldn't sleep with.
Well, I know somebody that's not doing communion today. Get right with Jesus. Huh? All right. Anyway, okay, cool. So that's it. Bill Hybels appointed a woman co-pastor with another dude.
I do want to point out because whenever you brought this up, something I just wanted to point out. There are churches all over America that are run by women. There's a pastor, Mary Sample, down in Florida, who I adore and I think is an awesome lady, who runs her church and does a really good job. Who's
the lady that you love? She's a Methodist priest, pastor. She's a Methodist pastor. Oh, she's awesome.
I love a Methodist pastor.
I'm pretty sure she's Methodist.
All kinds of people.
Nadia Bowles-Weber.
Oh yeah, Natalie. Nadia Bowles-Weber.
Natalie or Nadia? Nadia Bowles-Weber.
Nadia. Yeah, Nadia. She's the best.
Yeah, she's
awesome. Lutheran though, right? She's Methodist? I thought she was Lutheran.
No, she's Lutheran. Aren't they the same?
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, she wrote the patristic book.
The what?
Yes, they're different. They're very different. The patristics. She wrote out the church fathers.
Oh, okay.
And also the male influence of the church that's valuable and beneficial and good for everybody.
I think, yeah. You don't throw the baby out with the
She's awesome though.
No,
yeah, she's the best. If we could get her on the show, I would not talk on that show.
If you have 30 minutes.
Reach out.
You have 30 minutes or however long you'd like. Go.
Just say whatever you want. Yeah.
Worst interview ever. Or best, because
Or best, probably best. I mean, it might rival Meg's Meg's episode. That'd be the rival of Meg's episode.
Those would be the only two that we'd have to have on the website or the channel. And
why don't we get them both and just have their own channel and just call it The Odd Show? What happened to those guys that it's like whenever people wonder what happened what happened to Craig Kilborn? I don't know.
No. What? Did he lose his show?
He was doing the Daily Show.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
He was the original host of the Daily Show.
Oh, okay. I would have guessed what happened to Conan OBrien on the Tonight Show.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was a little back forth, though. That was different.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe, no, you can't.
I want it back.
Which is a messed up situation. Oh. But I just say, if those two would be willing to do our show, I mean, I'm for it.
I'd give them the URL. I'm like,
yeah, we could work something else out.
You don't even have to pay for it.
I know. I was kind of looking forward to our 100th episode, so we can call it quits.
You're already planning to stop?
Well, no, I'm planning to keep going to 100.
Oh.
And then we'll start again. We'll call it the New Odd Show, or the Oddly New Show. The Oddly New Show.
None of this is agreeable to me at this point. So I have 40 episodes to figure this out. Anyway,
figure it out, man.
All right, so that's
direct us.
So, actually, we'd love to know what you think about a woman co-lead pastor, unmarried co-ed pastorship.
I want to imagine somebody watching.
Really changed, huh?
I want to imagine somebody watching the show and like drinking, spitting it out.
A what pastor? Did he just say a woman pastor? I have to rewind it. Hit 50 seconds back. Ridiculous.
I should have read the show notes.
Yeah, so that's it. We'd love to know opinions on it. If you knew about it and did you get duped like me and you clicked the link and you were like, oh well, well, she deserves it.
Or maybe somebody else saw it differently. Maybe they're like, no, this is a real good step for the church.
Yeah, maybe I'm just pessimistic about it. I don't know. I just feel like she's not really doing anything different. Maybe she is, but I know a little bit about what executive pastors do, and it sounds like she's doing the same thing. They just gave her a co-lead pastor title. So,
sure.
It doesn't matter. Ultimately, I'm not going to Willow Creek. So,
Steven, go check it out for us. Tell us what the deal is.
Oh yeah, Stephen Frosto. He's in the Chicagoland area. Go check that out. I need you to go until she preaches, and then let me know.
Stand up, walk out, and come tell us how it goes. Don't do it in protest. Just stand up or walk out and let us know how it goes.
Stand up, slow clap, then leave, and then okay. Anyway, so that's the Odd Show, guys. You can check us out. Any other places, and we'd love to know what you think. So yeah, Thomas already said stay odd, so we're out. Stay odd. Thanks for checking out The Odd Show. You can follow Bruce on Twitter at bpags2 and Thomas at BlenderZen. Remember to rate and review us on iTunes and share us with your friends. Until next time, stay odd.